Good morning, Manna family, and welcome to day 3 of our current Morning Manna Series, looking at living a life that glorifies God. Over the last couple of days, we have been looking at a passage from Romans chapter 12, verses 1 through 12. Today, we are stepping into a section of our passage that discusses how we should approach the work God is calling us to. The verse we are looking at today comes from Romans chapter 12, verse 3, which says, "For by the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think with sober judgment, each according to the measure of faith that God has assigned." In our verse today, Paul is about to endeavor into explaining how important the spiritual gifts are, and so he starts out in a way that helps his readers understand that he's really coming from a place of good intentions and also from a place of God-given authority. Not in a superior fashion, but more so in a way that shows them that his place as an apostle of Jesus Christ was God-given, adding really to the implication of Paul's reference to the measure of faith that God has assigned. I think it is also so interesting how Paul encourages us to have a proper understanding of our measure of faith and to be diligent and patient in our self-assessment. There's also an important aspect of avoiding arrogance and pride in our self-assessment. So here at Manna Church, we strongly believe that each one of us were created on purpose for a purpose. And what Paul is encouraging us to do here in verse 3 is to have a sufficient level of self-awareness so that we can discover, develop, and deploy the gifts God has for us. In addition to that, having a right understanding of these gifts allows us to effectively integrate into advancing God's kingdom. I wonder how many of us have ever stepped into a job or onto a team where we were in a place or a position that we really didn't feel too comfortable. Was it because we oversold our abilities? Or maybe it was because our boss or leader didn't really understand the skill set we were bringing to the team. Those are definitely possibilities, but there have been times where I didn't have a great understanding of my own abilities, skills, gifts, whatever you want to call them. I ended up stepping into a job that I was not ready for and ultimately did not perform as good as I could have if I would have taken the time to prepare for that position. Maybe there are job opportunities you are considering, or maybe you are considering an exciting ministry opportunity. Whatever the case is, I think Paul is telling us that we should step into these opportunities with prudence, patience, and sound judgment, ultimately seeking to understand the kingdom purposes God is calling us to. Well, it was fun to spend this devotional time with you again today. Come on back tomorrow as we continue making our way through these verses from Romans 12. Have a great rest of your day. God bless.